renovation according to every owner in addition to the regular maintenance. Remaining things we are basically in the past left to be assigned to us. Now we have a new board this year, and we want to work with the board together to raise the concern, have our actually responsibility to bring to the board forward what we are concerned about, so we give them a choice and give them a chance to work for us in our interest. We have sent the letter previously. There are nearly 90 people who supported this letter of the owners who were aware of that one. And in general, our concern expressed was for financial, the cost what we are paying on regular maintenance, but that continually going up. And transparency in the between the management and the owners, because now we already have a website and doing some stuff being updated. And the major concern these days has been the ongoing renovation. So for that we have, I think, capital here, so they will be able to address it. Joseph is going to be leading the questions and concerns as related to the renovation project. And I will just bring a few questions to, I think, Elite is here. And who else from contractor is here? Landscaping and
Ballet. Ballet.
And the ballet and the landscaping. So I think not to keep the security and the ballet for now, because obviously the renovation is going to take a longer. Just to address the both contracts that we see, we have seen continuous ongoing increase of the yearly contracts, which are going way above the CPI known index, and like 12%, 8%, and it's like continuous increase. So we have asked questions just 2 months ago with the new budget, when and how we can find a way of agreement, and unfortunately these are the most expensive contracts we are paying. So we would like to know, like for example, what Elite, and then we'll give the chance to the relay, how the things can be looking forward to stay steady on the cost, and is there a way how you can guys work on that one? I'm not saying we want to jeopardize the safety and the security service. We just hope that you can find a way, as we are a long-term customer, to give us some, break of this continuous and this, or put a cap of how much we will expect every year increase. It's just coming too much in addition to everything that we're paying at the moment.
Well, my name is Anthony. I'm the client relations manager for Elite. I work directly with the property manager. Anytime there's any issues with the guards, I'm a first point of contact. Joshua is my counterpart. We both have several properties in the area, and throughout all Sunny Isles, all the way down to Miami, Fort Lauderdale. Right now, as far as what we supply for the property in general, most of our services goes towards the condo and the towers. They get the rovers and the front desk and that stuff. On the townhouse end, from what I'm saying, you chip in for the gatehouse personnel. That's the cost that's shared. And now I know occasionally our rovers do help out with stuff for the townhouses. Maybe it's not part of their job, but we've got some good rovers here. That's the patrol. So they do that little extra, and they go a little out of their way to help out if there's any issues. As far as cost goes, the industry in general, all of our costs are rising. Unfortunately, personnel is rising. I spend half my day in the office doing interviews just to try to find the proper personnel to work in sites. That's one of the reasons why I come here directly. I speak to our supervisor we have Orlando, and I speak to the buyer, I talk to them, and I also talk to Terry and Vanessa to find out what they need and make sure they get the services they require. Cost-wise, I'm not allowed to specify where we can keep your costs. Primarily, that's next level up. The only person above us is the owner of the company, David and Kevin, and the other ones, they actually speak specifically as to the money.
My name is Joshua. Good afternoon. What I can say though about the contract is that I do believe that there is a
2-3 years, they feel like it deserves a raise, we put it in there for that and other reasons. What I can say is that Elite is pretty good about putting a threshold on the figure. So let's say you say, this is our budget, and if we feel like it might be stretched a little bit too thin.
Excuse me, 1 second, Joshua. There are some of us who are hearing challenged. So, right. There are some of us who are hearing challenged. Thank you. Thank you.
I was explaining that, yes, in the contracts, usually there's a set kicker. I don't know the percentage for this property specifically for this contract, but usually that covers quality of life. If you have security guards that have had longevity of the property, they want to raise and so forth, and other items. I don't know the particularities of this contract specifically, but what I can tell you is that Elite Guard is pretty good about putting a cap on that. So if you say, I don't know about, let's say, reducing the cost that's there now, because obviously that would come out of the guard's check, and that would be a whole different story. But in terms of putting a cap on it, it's really good. So if you say, look, this is as much as you want to go, they'll work with you with that. And I really want to know.
Oh, that would be appreciated. Yeah, we understand that there is a cap on that, but seeing the budget going with on a cost for the security service for nearly 12% from the previous year to this year makes no sense, because the CPI is about 3%. This year was 2.2, but let's say 3%. 12 is well too much. But of course, we don't go now and do that. Just we will have to come with the manager and with the president to really look into this one and see what can be done and going forward, to jeopardize.
As far as that's concerned, like that right now, the guards that are paid here, they're not on the higher end. They're more like in the middle of the end, where our guards are paid throughout all our properties. I can't discuss that. We can't discuss the actual rates they make. The management can talk that with the board members. But our guards, they're like in a middle road right now. I have some properties that make a lot more. And unfortunately, the way the economy is now, I'm getting guards coming up to me every day requesting raises. When you have company, they Amazon, everybody's trying to pay 15.
Well, I was just going to say, I happen to have been speaking to a former security guard, and he said you just can't afford to work for $11 an hour indefinitely. And if that's what we're paying them, they could get more at McDonald's and not have the responsibility that they have here. And I know somebody had said to me in the budget, a $45,000 raise increase, for all employees, I assume. And, and we don't pay them. I mean, we pay you. We don't pay them their salary, I'm sure. But at $11 an hour, we have no business looking to try to save money through their salaries.
An hour for these, it equated to 50 cents an hour for these employees.
Yeah. The raise. Yeah, which is like, who's going to complain? Is that ridiculous?
They are complaining.
I know. Well, they
When was the last time they got a raise?
They just
5 years ago, maybe?
5 years.
Yeah.
7 years for some.
Hi, everybody. My name is Udi. I live in this building for about 19 years. I come from the world of security. I've been working for a security company for about 5 years. Anthony, how are you?
I'm doing good, how are you?
Great. And Jonathan?
Joshua.
Joshua. Okay.
Oceania, correct?
Oceania previously, correct. Not anymore. Anthony and I actually know each other from a property that I managed before. And I can tell you some things about Elite Guard. In the business of security, they've done an incredible job in this property based on my experience of about 10 years with security. The horrible things that I've seen on properties, and I've been on a lot of properties, is something that you wouldn't even imagine. With that said, the rate that they're getting here is considered above standard in the market. I know security companies, believe it or not, that actually work on minimum wage, $8.35 an hour. So we don't have those guards here. But with that said, Anthony, and you know me, and you know how I work, right? We've had turnover here recently, a lot. And that's something that I would like to see stop. And that hang on. And that comes from two things. You're hiring people that are not necessarily with Elite Guard. They don't come from the culture of Elite Guard. They're not with the lead guard enough time, and I'm seeing it in other properties too. I would like to see guards here that come from your company and been with the company for a while.
Back to Legal Ocean, we tried doing that. Unfortunately, right now, we're experiencing what a lot of other companies experiencing, massive turnover. We lost this week alone, I lost 4 good guards at my other property that's been with the company for more money. And that's what's hurting us the most. So then it comes down, we're stuck to the point where we gotta settle from the pool that we're being offered. And lots of times it's people that are getting rejected from other companies. We try our due diligence. Unlike some companies, we actually do background checks on guards, make sure they have no records. We try to get as much information as we can. If you see the number of guards that I go through and I reject on a weekly basis, just for background, everything from petty theft, license issues, all kind of things. And it's one of the big issues we're having, and we experienced at Oceana. And we had a little bit of a turner. Finally, they're at the point where they got them permanent guards. Now, it also changed the budget. I have people coming, I have one property that complained that they were getting the same type of guard. And I told them, well, unfortunately, that's the only person that will work for that rate. I mean, we would love to get you a little better quality, and I'm not saying this is for just in general, but it comes up, when I have somebody working in and they're asking $13, $14, $15 an hour to start, and these are good quality people, some of them are bilingual, but they want these higher rates.
Yeah, I can tell you, I can tell you that lead guard, if you look into the contract for this property, they're fully transparent. So they'll say, this is what your annual cost for lead guard. This is how much it's going to for tax. This is how much is for liability insurance. This is how much for uniforms for the guard. This is what the guards are making, and this is the profit that we're making. What I can tell you is that it is a challenge right now because, again, we can send 10 people this week to the property. You'll fall in love with them, they'll have longevity, but they will ask for $15, $16 an hour. The challenge is that we have Amazon, $50 an hour. We have Whole Foods. We have McDonald's.
That's the challenge that you need to resolve.
Exactly.
You're in that business. That's your challenge.
And it's not unique to us. Every company right now is facing these challenges. We're all hiring from the same pool. The difference within a lead guard is how we manage it, how we manage the guards and how we train them, and the layers of supervision that we give to our guards, which we do. And we will get it done. Just as long as you're cognizant of the fact that it really isn't as easy as just following people to the property. Because in truth, there are aspects to this dynamic that isn't just finding people to
Most people absolutely are very Windows and other staff members, and the complaints that I have heard in the rest of the board of the little bitty raise that we gave them was negligible. Most people would give them more. They're very fond of this staff.
I know we just lost one more.
Steve.
Yeah, Steve, he just left.
He wasn't
Same
that
thing.
long.
Yeah. But he had another one.
So good. More money. So what? 2 years ago, we lost Edison to Gulf Street. Where he's at Gulf Street. He's at Gulf Street. I see him there. Right. Okay. He told me he gets $3 an hour more.
Now, we try to bring turnovers, like in this situation, usually if we hear somebody leave, we send supervisors in to fill in and stuff like that. And we try, and it takes a little time, we don't just rush out the door and find the person, first person that comes to the door. We try to find people, sometimes I even pull people from other pockets, like they go like, Oceana, I have this position here, I know you've been looking for an upgrade where you're at, and we try to bring them over. Another thing we do, we have Orlando meet with them first. He knows the problem, it's like, he knows the problem even better than me. He's been here, we're running this since the start of the problem.
Just to understand the full process of how we put people on properties. The first thing is someone comes into our office and slides and not hired internally. The personnel manager will sit down and interview them, look at their file. The hiring manager asks every question under the sun. What schedule you want to work? On your desk, have you worked in road, et cetera, et cetera. After they get a feel for that officer, they run a full clean and background check. So it puts everything in place. After that, we show them a schedule that we think suits them, right? You've done Rover before, you have 3 years experience at a desk in Marriott or whatever the case may be, and we send them to the property with this schedule. If they like the property, some people say, yes, well, not for me to work, but that's really not, it's not efficient. So we send them to the property, if they like it, then we choose them. So there are layers, and there really is a process of putting people on the site. We don't just use the schedule, we're going to,
Okay, well, to wrap it up with you, because we have lots of things, Anthony and Joshua, thank you for coming. We understand your property once again, I haven't really explained, and we will next week, we're doing the cost in general, we trust your best judgment have at least some cops, so we know what we can expect, going further, instead of like seeing, 12%, and you're questioning why is that and what's happening. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming. Sorry? No. From last year, what was not this year was increased maybe 12%.
I understand. What about?
It's for this year budget until July 2020. But yeah, so we want to know, there's supposed to be a cap up to what percentage the increase would go every year. We know with the labor it's going to go every year, regardless, but it just to have
12% a year, if it's every year, it's a lot of money.
Correct. So that has to be a reasonable cover of the increase.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. We have generally we will go with very briefly, of course.
Yeah, of course. No problem.
Coming, because we also noticed it like more than CPI increase. CPI is what normally the companies every year take into with the salaries. So because we saw like a tremendous increase, with the same addressing like how much it's, what is the cap, and we would expect you also to discuss with our president and so we have like some steady reasonable increase on a yearly basis that we may expect to see. Other than that, I haven't heard any complaints, and we have this lovely Freddie and Frankie and everybody else there that we know for a very long time. So
Let me just interject here, if I may, so that everybody here can understand.
Okay.
This week, I was approached about cutting the budget, and we should get, we could do two things to lower maybe 30 cents an apartment a month, okay? We could get rid of and get a cheaper valet service, get rid of Frankie and whatnot. And how about Eddie? Because he's only been here 34 years, and we could get a cheaper engineer. And this is the kind of stuff that we are dealing with. So I just want to know
This is a family deal. I mean,
no, we don't want to. No, we don't want to lose.
Well, that was
No,
just
we
this
just
week.
want to know because it was a very big jump from the last year to this year. So we express concern on that one.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for having me here. My name is Gonzalo. I'm working in the Southern Parking Company for 17 years. We have some accounts around. It's Landmark. We have Condominiums and Green. A few accounts around. We are working now. The company have around probably 70 accounts in North Miami, it's in Miami, Broward County, West Palm Beach. We are working together with the management office and the president of the board, trying to get a little increase. Usually, it's the contract have a 3% increase every year. The market now is very difficult. I'm trying to get as soon as I want to get. It's most of the time we're trying to pass the increases some part to the ballet staff because they don't increase the rate for a few years ago. It's depending on the economy. But we are happy to work together with the Terry, the manager, and Mark to try to make an arrangement under our budget or your budget, because we are here to make business. As I say, the market is a little difficult now, and the average in ballet it's probably around $9-10. It's no more than that. It's very difficult for the ballets working with that rates because everybody, as you say, probably like Frankie, have a lot of years working in the buildings, and it's as somebody say here, we feel as a family, because it's for me, under my experience, it's working in ballet for 17 years. The most value after your unit, your apartment, your house, your family is your cars, because it's our car. I feel it. My car is my second house, and it's very important keep the right persons and the ballet staff, because it's not probably the ballet staff have more compromise with each person in the buildings than the security or landscaping or other business, because it's they going all the time inside your units helping with the groceries, luggage, or everything do you need. It's on the day, and inside your car you have your valuables. It's your own things. It's and the valet understand they have to keep everything as on his own properties. It's I don't have too much to say because it's you told me about the time. It's we are working very hard to trying to do the best we can do to keep working here very hard to trying to implement. We are in the process to trying to change the uniform for something better, because it's I know it's you are under construction now, but remodeling it's the lobby and the areas, and we have to be part of that, changing the look itself for the ballets and as a uniforms, as the attitude, trying to do more proactive and attend the resident here, and also we are looking for electronic system to trying to the we don't have too much, honestly, we don't have too much resident using the ballet. It's around 15 or 16 people using the building, but it's we are looking for a system to provide electronic service for the residents to do more easy when somebody needs the cars at time.
Yeah, but they're using them to help them with the packages.
Yes.
And watching the packages, which in itself, I mean, people get expensive things delivered here, and you know, forget about parking the car. I mean, we don't, you know, unless you have a guest coming, they're not parking our cars for the most part. Well, they're parking some, but
Right.
it's more important that when they
packages
come and
itself.
ask for a package, that they're
Right.
polite and they get it for you. And
I understand
It
it's
comes out of one
working in
second. The contract from LA is strictly for their parking vehicles. They do our groceries and our luggage as a courtesy, but it is not part of their contract. That's not what they get paid for. So it is something that they do extra for all of us.
But they shouldn't be movers.
Correct.
And I've
I
been
totally
here
agree.
recently watching them as I'm going down to work. They're moving, they got stuff piled up on those carts, 2 carts. Pay a mover.
I
If
agree.
you're moving in or you're moving out, you pay a mover.
And then they
You
give them a
don't
tip
pay
of
them.
$1.
And then
Yeah.
They probably tip
You
you
know-
$2.
But their
you know
contract
what
is strictly
happened
parking.
most of the time,
And
because
that's
it's
wrong.
I'm gonna tell you my experience, because I'm a start a ballet runner like the rest of the guys. Most of the time, we feel the resident has a family. If you request me help, even if not my rules or my responsibility to help you, because it's a say it's a ballet is just the contract is just for cars. It's difficult for us say, I mean, I cannot help you, or
No, they don't.
trying
They
to
always help.
find another way. It's
It's
I-
fine if they help. That's the purpose, to help bring your luggage, bring your groceries.
Right.
But not unloading a van and expecting them to move it up.
right. There are a
Well,
different,
that's not fair. I mean, you know.
right. There are
And
different
it takes up
situations.
time, if I'm calling and I've been using Southern Parking since 1985,
Right.
when I
Yeah.
moved here.
Right.
And if I have to wait for my car because they're moving, that's gonna take an hour to unload, to load it and unload it.
Yeah, I understand now. It's in the new process. It's
gonna
they're
have a
gonna
package
change.
delivery
They wanna get somebody specifically to get the packages, and I think it's probably that situation will be solved.
All right, but Gonzalo, let me just real quick, there's more services that they provide than what he's telling you about, because first off, all your guests that come here, they have to use, or not that they have to, but most of them use valet. People that are visiting, being dropped off, are greeted by valet. When we have July 4th, God knows, we need valet, and they've done a wonderful job. okay, in that chaotic scene. So with that said, you know, the value that we place on them to give us the service that they give us, I think they've met that value. And I think they've met it very well. And I think we're very lucky to have long-term employees, as opposed to constant turnover of people we don't know that come into our homes to deliver packages, to deliver groceries. We feel confident with those people. And when you feel confident with those people, you want to keep those people. And just like anything else, they become part of a family, which is what we are. And unfortunately, sometimes we forget that. And so I just wanted to interject that, since that may just get lost.
Not where I would cut expenses.
No, absolutely not.
So, yeah, to echo Mark, our concern is not the service, and we greatly love our people, and we want to have them. We just expect that you will work with him and with the manager to, you know.
Yeah, always, every year we try to fix up.
Yeah, we just don't want to get to the point that we'll say we love you, but you're just too expensive for us.
I know.
No, they're not. No, they're not too expensive.
Again, the pool, going back to the pool, just like Elite said, they have to draw from a very large pool of valets. And a lot of those times, when you say you want to get somebody cheaper, you can get somebody cheaper. Yeah, we can get somebody for $8 an hour, $7 an hour, but the quality and the turnover is going to be something unimaginable that you have not yet experienced.
No, Mark, don't get me wrong. It's not about the change the people so they have.
It's
more
about
money.
dollars, but you're bringing up dollars. And you get what you pay for, and that's what we have. And we're lucky enough that Frankie feels he can make a living here, right, for the dollar that he gets, right? And he hasn't left us in how many years? 25 years, right? Except when his wife died, if you all remember that.
Yeah, I remember.
So, and he was true to us, and we should be true to him and the other valets that we feel confident in.
Right, go ahead.
No, I'm just, wondering why we are nitpicking on these expenses that are not.
That are necessary.
If you go to any other building, we are paying a fraction of maintenance compared to other buildings. It is ridiculous that we are nitpicking when these people are barely earning a living. Now, the Hamptons charges a $2 fee to park your car. Those are strictly tips for the valet. They're split up between the valets. There's no charge for parking the car. It's just a set $2 tip for the valets. How many people come in here and get their cars and don't give our valets anything? Or have them deliver their groceries and don't give them anything? I mean, they're just nitpicking about stupid things. If you want to have something to complain about, I would go with the gardeners who have planted nothing but crap in our building and it's dead 2 weeks after it goes in. Now those are people that shouldn't be paid.
No, so, okay, everybody, like calm down because we have to keep going and we have a lot of things coming with the renovation. The intention is not to nitpicking, as she says, because little by little makes the whole pool and it's one about secure pay. So it's not about nitpicking, we're just looking into some study increase so we are aware of, not just like jump increase what we saw.
We are going step by step, let's try
Correct.
this.
Yes. And
Even the Ballet people over there, people over 30 years. One thing about this building is good is the Ballet people. I live here 30 years. I know Frank from the day I moved in. I don't know what's the problem with the Ballet. I mean, we have tons of issue over
It's
here.
because we gave them
When
50
you work,
cents an hour
when
raise.
you work for somebody, you're accepting a raise. A normal raise is 3% a year.
yes, but
That's
not
normal.
12.
They're telling you that they did increase. After 5 years, you have beautiful people, no turnover, no. If one thing is good in this building is the ballet.
Thank you.
If I may say something,
Ballet, that means you leave.
if I may say something, I've had a not so good experience, which I'm not gonna disclose right now. I'm gonna address with management and the board, but, that's not.
No, please share. Oh, I'm curious.
So, okay, Gonzalez, again, not to get us wrong, we don't need picking on you, we are happy with the service, it's just one of the major expenses we have. So, it is, if you look at a separate contract, it's not a big deal, but in the pool brings a lot to the cost. So we are looking at for you to work with us and keep the good stuff we have to the rest, some normal study increase. That's all. That's all. But we thank you.
Thank you for having me here.
Thank you for
It's a
having us.
pleasure. Thank you very much.
I think, Joseph, I think we have the landscaping here, maybe 10 minutes with him, yes, so we can go to the major time that we're gonna spend. Yes, please.
Hi, good evening. My name is Jose Villa. I'm the owner of True Cuts. We've been here for about 4 years right now. As far as cost, we've been trying to maintain the same cost we started here 4 years ago is still what it is today. Okay, we have not increased any of the the contracts. What we've done is this year what we did is we integrated the tree service as well as some of the other one-offs that we used to do in the past, such as the hedges, and also we're doing now more of the leaf cleanup, which we didn't do before. So, but we've maintained basically the same cost as far as the maintenance throughout the 4 years. Annuals, I know that you mentioned flowers. Okay, as far as flowers, we've been reducing some of the planters over the years. We've been reducing, doing more hardscape. Okay, but at the same time, you need flowers. Otherwise, this is what separates this building from all the other buildings around here that don't have flowers. Okay, I've got 42 commercial properties right now, and here in Aventura, I've got 6 buildings in the area. Okay, and they all come to Delvista to look at the flowers that you guys have. Okay, they all come and say, hey, who does Delvista? And based on Delvista, I've gotten some other contracts because they love the way it looks. Now, there are years that the annuals don't do as well as other years because of the amount of water. This year, the minute we planted those annuals, we got torrential rains. We got floods. This whole area was full of floods. Things were coming out of the ground. Okay, so we try to plant the best product out there. We go directly to the growers. We don't buy from nurseries. Okay. So the nursery where they, a little penta plant that goes for $3, okay, you guys are getting it for cents, 86, 87 cents, $1, okay? That's the difference. As far as rocks and hardscape, we don't go to the nursery and pick up rocks. We go to the quarries. I've even taken the Marvin with me to locations to negotiate, okay? Because it's a big building.
Okay, so the straight question, I understand that you combine the whole tree trimming and leaves in
Yes.
one. The flowers, what we have allocated for the flowers itself in a budget, a significant amount of money. So I'm not gonna mention the exact amount because we have outside people here. But the main question was coming, this is the cost because we are planting 3 times a year or 2 times a year.
We're planting twice a year.
Okay,
Yes.
now, there is another way to look into possible savings to have flowers that are planted perennials. So is there any way you can look at it, other possibilities, so all these different perennials that will be blooming one after another and we still have a beautiful garden, but about the one-time investment will last a little longer and it's not going to require replanting again or the same thing?
Most perennials, okay, are more on the green side, like hard leaf greens. There's different tones of greens. Very few perennials that have color. Right. So what happens with every perennial that has flowers is once you plant them, they're not going to have flowers throughout the whole year. Okay, that's why you put annuals instead of perennials. And normally annuals you do it 3 times a year. We're doing it twice a year here, which is significant. That's why sometimes when it gets pretty close to the end of of the month, like for example October now is when the new annuals come out. September they're already looking kind of shabby. They're not looking as good because normally annuals you would do them about 3 times a year. We only do them twice.
Okay, I personally appreciate it, and I'm sure everybody will share with me the same opinion. We might be wrong in our concerns, but we appreciate that you explain to us so we understand from the professional and we understand how everything is handled. So we certainly love our garden.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming with us today.
Thank you.
And now it's the biggest concern, the renovation, and here I'm gonna hand it over to Joseph, who is gonna lead, going forward, and we have almost 1 hour for your attention. Joseph?
So basically, we're all here for the construction issues, and I'm just gonna ask the capital representative exactly where we are. Are we on time? Are we delayed? Are we over budget, under budget? So we can hear it without rumors from you first, on your point of view.
Okay.
And the second one is to the president, is why do we not have a copy of the construction budget along with the financial budget? We have asked, I think, more than 6 weeks now, just for a copy of it. We've asked for it to be put up on the PDF under the new web portal, and we have not received it. So we're just asking that. I think it cost about 10 minutes to upload it, and that's all we're asking. So whoever wants to answer first, and then we'll open it up.
So at this point, we're about 59% complete. We are still on time. We're definitely within contracted time. Looking to be out of here 100% by the end of January. Feeling confident right around or right before Thanksgiving, the lobby will be open. That's where we're at right now, about 59%.
Was there any unexpected delays that you can be aware of? And can you explain what a work change order is that we've been hearing about?
Delays, there have been delays based upon opinions by past board members that we weren't doing things the right way. And we've shown and proven that what we were doing was correct, but it was a lot of I wouldn't say static, but a lot of friction to get past that point. But we've overcome it, and we're pushing forward.
We're on track. I have a question. We have all of us received the rendering of what the building is gonna look like and what the renovation is gonna look like. And when I look at whatever has been done so far, it doesn't look whatsoever like the rendering. I wanna know why.
Which part don't you think looks like the rendering?
The wallpaper to
Okay.
begin with.
Okay.
Okay, the colors of the carpets are a little bit different. A lot of those.
Okay, so this is great. No. Just hang on a second. No, this is great. Let's open up the conversation. I'm sure everybody can hear me. Excuse me?
I still have a couple more questions.
Don't you want me to answer her question or not?
We can do that after, but we have a little bit more important stuff at the moment. So what you were saying with those hiccups, can you elaborate what that was? And how long did that take for a delay and what they were?
It was about a 3-month delay. There was a concern that the columns and the framing work in the elevator lobbies was not straight, twisted, at which point we brought out levels and lasers and all the tools of the trade to show that everything was installed straight. And we were basically told to stop at that point until we got it straight.
What's exactly, let's start floor by floor. Take a typical floor. What exactly is the scope of work and the quality supposed to be? That's what I want to know. I'm not talking about material or anything else.
The scope?
In town 2,
Okay.
let's take a town 2. We got the letter today.
Well, both towers are the same scope
Okay,
work.
I'm not looking, I never walk in tower 1, I'm walking in tower 2.
Okay.
In tower 2, look to me, the carpet is finished, the landing area is finished, the wallpaper is finished. From your 59% in Tower 2, what is finished? I mean, all the wallpaper work is finished. What is
The wallpaper work is not finished.
not finished?
Specifically, if you're, I don't know what floor you're on, but
I'm asking overall. I'm not talking about my floor. I'm talking about everything. What is the scope of work? Let's start with the wall. What is the scope of work you're supposed to do?
the scope of work is from start to finish was to remove the wallpaper, the existing wallpaper that was on the walls, remove the chair rail, remove the lower texture to the walls, remove the elevator lobby ceilings and floors, remove and replace the existing wall sconces, install a crown soffit to conceal the TV cables and telephone wires, and then obviously reinstall everything new.
Okay, before you install the wallpaper, what you have to do to the wall?
Skim coat the walls.
Skim coat the wall?
Correct.
And it's all done?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Great. Joseph?
Let her answer the question.
Yes, so we can continue with his question to lead, and then we open the questions for everybody else.
Sure, okay, so great, I'm happy to answer that question. I'm sure everybody in the back can hear me as my voice lingers. I'm Jennifer, and I've been on, I'm Jennifer, I'm with Capital, been on this project since the beginning along with Jody. And what I can tell you is that the renderings are a digital representation of what you can expect to see. And everybody received a packet when they went ahead and voted on the renderings. And on the back of that packet, it does say, in small print, which you probably can't read without my glasses on, but it basically says that these are digital representations and things may change depending on a couple of different variables. One may be availability, of course, because from the time you place your vote to the time we actually do install, there could be a bunch of different things that happen. What we can tell you is that tweaks in the carpet were made based on comments. Obviously all of the materials were brought for everybody to view. Comments, feedback was given before the materials were actually produced. And we were asked to make the carpet a little bit darker because people were concerned about how light the color was. When you make tweaks to one thing, then there are tweaks that have to happen to other things, because in a design concept, one thing relies on another, one and another and another. And so to ensure continuity, things had to change. But the color variations are very minimal. And the color variations between the wallpaper that was here when you first saw the presentation versus the color of the wallpaper that you have now is very minimal. So the colorations are the same.
It's not the same.
Can we show you both of the colors? So
Show me the texture too.
I will. So I want to let you guys know that the wallpapers that were both specified are the same grade, the same brand, and the same price. These are the two wallpapers.
Excuse
I
me?
understand.
It's not that.
It absolutely
No,
is. We would not
there is texture on that and on the.
Do you want to see it closer? So what I think you're confusing this in the rendering, which is a digital representation, the texture on this wallpaper is a little bit enlarged, so you could understand it. However, that's why we put a material board in the lobby so you can see this
Okay,
one.
why they didn't put this one?
We did have that one.
What?
It was in the lobby.
Okay, we chose that one, not
Correct.
this one.
So then, as Jennifer explained, when the carpet was darkened, as per your request, this color no longer flowed with the carpet.
It's the same color. It's only different.
So you said it. It's the same color.
Yeah, but it's
the same one we saw. I assure you.
Okay, so what everybody needs to understand with regards to the texture. Can I grab this? Can I grab this? Can I grab this? Okay, so here you have a textured wallpaper. Yes. Here you want, this can't work if not everybody's listening at the same time. Okay? They both have a texture to them. One is one texture, one is another. This wallpaper no longer came in the color that supported the carpet. So this wallpaper was selected as something that could easily go with what was originally approved. Again, It specifically says it on the back of that journal that everybody received prior to voting that changes may occur based on different variables, and this was one of them. Yes, sir.
Can you show me on the rendering the laundry room doors and the fire exit doors on that rendering?
Yes, Jennifer, that is the same question. We understand the changes of materials, but now we see a different design of the residential level, which shows every door the same thing, when what we see now, it's not the case.
So these doors that you see in the rendering are the unit doors.
There's no hallway in Delvista with 4 doors consecutive.
Again, it's a digital representation. It is not a exact model of your hallway. It
So
was
you
to.
decided to leave out the laundry room doors?
Well, yes, because those doors would not take the wear and tear.
Everybody has to listen to every question, otherwise this won't work.
The only question why I'm asking this is
Yes.
because our board failed to give us a copy of the construction contract. Again, I'm gonna ask Mark, since you didn't wanna answer the first time around, can you ask us why we don't have a construction copy?
Okay, well, first, I take offense to the fact that you categorized that I didn't want to answer. I don't think you know me, so you don't know where.
We're jumping around with wallpaper, so I'm asking you now.
Okay, well, all right. Now, typically, as far as, when we sent you the packet, which you voted on, okay, it had a total cost of $5,400,000. So you knew what you were paying for. You also knew from the renderings, what that value was, okay? Now, typically, when you ask all of a sudden midstream as to what is the cost all of a sudden, you want to post it everywhere, you don't do that. I've never seen a project yet that has posted cost factors in the midstream of a job so that everyone can see it. If you want to know, and there's nothing to stop you, and you could have done this, is that you could have put a request into the management office to review the cost that we do have, and if you wanted to make copies, you could do so at the cost.
So you're refusing to give us a copy of the construction copy?
That's not what I
That's
just
what
said.
you're
I
saying?
said that to make it available.
To make it
Okay?
available.
Right.
Yeah,
And I'm
that's
telling
what's
you,
going on.
but you're not listening. You want me to do your job. I'm not gonna do
We
that.
have a manager right here that can do it for us.
No, that's not how it works.
Not to put it up.
Excuse me. You asked me a specific question as to the availability of the information you want. I'm telling you in condominiums how you obtain it. And if you don't believe me, you can look it up by law, because you put it in writing, you request it, and you can go see it. You can ask to review it. We can make arrangements in the management office for you, or if you want copies, we can make copies at the cost that the law allows. That's what we do.
Mark, quick question. According to Florida statute from July 2018, if I'm not mistaken, this is above 150 unit condominium, correct?
Yes, of course.
Are you aware of the fact that you're supposed to maintain a website?
Of course.
Are you aware of the fact that every document, according to the statutes, is supposed to be posted there? That's
Okay.
including, that's including contracts.
Okay,
Is
now.
it, wait a minute, question, is it there?
Okay, now, let me correct you.
Is it there?
I'm gonna correct you before I answer your question the way you want me to.
Okay.
First off, the law does not say that we have to post the actual contracts. Doesn't say that. It says a summary of. Okay, that's completely different than the actual contract. That's what the law says. If you don't believe me, look it up, you'll see it there, and then you can come back and tell me that I'm right.
What about
Okay.
the proposal?
The same thing.
No, it's not.
Excuse me. The proposals can be summarized and placed, but they can be there, okay? For anyone to review. So therefore, what we have, and I don't know if we have, because it's been a while since I reviewed our website, but there are divisions in that website that have postings in it. I don't remember exactly what's in there now, but there are things that are in there. I don't recall if there is a review of the capital project. I just don't recall that right now. Okay? So it's not like we're refusing anything. And again, anybody that has a concern or wants to see the records that we have, just simply put it in writing. You as an individual can come into the office, review those records. We're not gonna hold that back. And if you desire to make copies, you can make those copies.
being charged to make the copies, correct?
That's the law, yes.
That part out.
Right, that's the law.
But why is there such a big hiccup with just putting it up online?
Because what we do is we start establishing the fact that we're gonna start one way disseminating our documents, the official records of the association. Where do we draw that line where some are paid for, some are not paid for, some are reviewed, some are not reviewed? It should be standard throughout, and that's how it should be. If we start dividing how we're going to give you those documents that are official records, then we are selectively enforcing that as well.
How many contracts do we have uploaded at the moment?
I don't recall.
It's 0.
I don't recall.
It's
I don't
0.
know if that is.
Mark, is it possible to, all we asking is because many people are out of country, out of town, they don't live here. Also many people, we work during Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, and we are simply not here in the opening hours. So actually having the contracts included there for us to see it and be available, it's really just convenient, and it will be really appreciated.
Again, then what we do, let me just cut you off. Then what we do is, then we have to decipher as opposed to the summary that we're required to put up. Now all of a sudden, we're gonna make decisions which ones we do post and which ones we don't post. In other words, it's all or nothing in this law. That's how the law is. That's how they look at it. So once you set a precedent, then you have to continue with that precedent. If we stay with the way the law requires us to stay, we are on solid ground, number one. Number two, we're consistent. And that's important, to be consistent. Do we make mistakes? Absolutely. There is no foolproof anything that a board does, that management does, especially in this business.
Nobody's faulting you with mistakes, but when you do summary compared to full contract, that's full transparency. Nobody's saying you made a mistake, negotiating, pipes broken. Everybody just wants to see it. When you buy a mortgage, you get 400 pages. They're in your drawer forever for 30 years. You can go to it. Everybody spent a lot of money, $5.5 million. They want to see what they got.
Right. And
why is that so hard?
It isn't. Again.
So nobody wants a summary. The summary is very wavy and very gray. People want to see black and white.
But what is to stop you also from putting in the formal request, going to the office to review those records? It's there.
But couldn't we just agree on posting some documents as opposed to all?
That's where we selected now. Again, we become selective on what we're going to post, what we're not going to post. You may want me to post one thing, you may want me to post something else, you may want me to post something else. Then all of a sudden, next thing we know, everybody that puts in a request to post something, we've got to post it.
But you represent us, you're the president.
That's right.
We voted you, put the stuff up online, that's what everybody's asking. It's
No,
very
not,
simple.
wait, let's back up.
Yeah.
First off, I counted somewhere around 30 residents here,
Yeah.
okay, out of 433, okay? So as far as you saying that we represent everybody, I don't think that's actually true. There's a lot of people that were very happy with the way the project is going. They've announced it to me, to numerous people on the board. And as far as the records are concerned, again, a lot of people either may not be interested, maybe they're satisfied with it, but we're not having an overwhelming request
So these
for
people's
records.
voice is very minimal for you.
Not at all. I'm just telling you, what you're requesting is possible. You're just not going through the proper channels to get it.
Okay, may I add I had a question for Jennifer and for Mark. I was trying to understand the intricacies where you were explaining the changing of the wallpaper, right? And so obviously there was a change done with the carpet, a little tweaking, and then and hence because of that, a tweaking was done with the wallpaper.
Correct.
Okay. Was there a work change order generated for that? Was it a part of the process?
No, because it had not been produced, and you don't need a change order for just changing colors.
Okay, so that means that there wasn't an adverse cost
There was not.
for the association.
No, there was not.
Okay, great.
He asked if there was a cost due to the change in the wallpaper or the coloration of the carpet, and no, there was not. No cost.
Thank you.
Jennifer, or maybe him, I don't know, a question related to residential level, the transition between carpet and tiles on the foyer. There is no teacup on that one. And to me,
Very old fashioned.
to me, or no, well, It may be like aluminum or something or anything. My concern is when the edges are open that way because of the trolleys that they're going through on a daily basis with deliveries and everything. Maybe in a couple of months, the edges of the tile or the edges of the carpet will be broken, which is going to request to be changed, the whole thing.
There is a transition.
So
If you look at it, there's a 1/4 inch steel transition there.
But it does not cover the edges of, so the trolley going through one in another direction.
The metal transition comes to the top of the tile to protect the edge of that tile.
The metal transition will protect the carpet.
I don't see, I have to look at it again.
There.
My impression is there is no, because I was like, it sounds like, I'm gonna look at it again, but if it's not, can I, probably I can show
Absolutely. If it's
tomorrow.
not, bring it up to the management office.
And for Mark, in terms of requesting for the unit owners to request to inspect the documents in the office, I have about a two-part question in that. One is, I am aware of a few residences who have actually requested that to actually inspect the documents, and so I think we'd all appreciate an understanding as to why are some persons giving different rate costs in terms of photocopying the paper from 50 cents to $1. That's one thing, one point, which is really a bit annoying to the residents because like we pay about $50,000. Well, how much is it, Matilda? We pay in photocopying, a couple $100,000.
I don't.
But we a pretty good amount of money in photocopying. So it's like a major sticking point for many residents. Like, and why there's a variance from 50 cents to 75 to $1. I've actually seen them, and I have them, and I can happily share them with you that have been received from the office. That's one. Two, since so many owners here are requesting a copy of that document to be shared, we are all owners here, and I understand where you're coming from in terms of precedent. I'm a strong believer in precedent, and I hope you will respect the precedents that you're actually speaking of. So many residents are requesting a document, something that wouldn't be adverse to us. It's something that we're requesting. It's actually a request on it's on a customer-centric level. Why make it so bureaucratic and difficult? Because that's our understanding. Like, I have actually seen the requests when the requests have been actually passed back to me, in which the dates that are given are like staggered back, and like it's a process in which, okay, send us a day, then we'll send you back a day, then we talk with the attorneys, and I mean, if it's something, it's so simple. Because like once we produce that transparency, it's one less issue for anyone to be annoying you with. It's just something I think that's all simple.
Can I suggest something more? So we don't, for us to avoid to be selective, but also to avoid the burden, if we start something, we have to continue the same way. If we all agree and ask you to agree with us, this one particular contract, because it's a major contract,
correct,
it's a major cost, this one particular to be uploaded, many people from out of state they were asking, so make it available at this particular contract for us will be really appreciated.
Mark, I'm going to make it even more clear than that. I guess it's got a confirmation. Contracts, by law, need to be uploaded. If it's not going to be uploaded within 7 days, I'm going to make an official complaint with the DBPR, and I'm going to go against the association on this. All contracts should be there. You don't summarize the contract. There's no such thing. All contracts are supposed to be uploaded to the website. And not just that, I will provide you with a very, very long list, and Terry will have her assistant in the office working overtime to make sure everything is uploaded, or you'll bring a company in here and pay them $4,000 to electronically scan everything into the system. But that's the way it's supposed to be. It's called transparency, Mark. And that's what we expect from the association.
Understood, but I don't know where you're getting your information from, But
That's okay.
I would definitely challenge.
You get yours and I got mine. That's fine.
Okay, but right, we understand, but this is something that we're requesting. That's the reason why we have a board. We have elected you to be on the board with the authority to actually
Can I ask a question?
to make it.
I don't mean to be rude.
Yes.
But my question is, are there any more questions for capital? Because we are all here to answer your questions, and if there are no more
Yes, we
questions
did
for us,
not
then it's
get
about the board.
answers from that gentleman about the hiccups yet.
I'm sorry?
I did not get a clear answer from him about the
My name is
hiccups
Todd.
that he, I'm sorry?
My name is Todd.
Todd?
Yes, sir,
Nice
Todd.
to meet you, Todd.
Likewise.
So, can you give a clear answer about what hiccups were there along the process and how they were handled? And what kind of a remedy was offered for compensation for those hiccups? Is it because of something that had to do with your company? Or is it something that you came across during the construction? Because you didn't really answer.
So the first thing that I was talking about with the walls that are twisted and not level and so forth and so on, there was no addition to the contract. There was no additional cost to the association. Okay. Then we ran into prior to coming into an agreement, it was understood by the board and the association that the unit resident doors had to be inspected prior to us laminating the front of them. In order to laminate the front of that door, you change the UL listing. When you change the UL listing, you need to have it inspected and relisted. When we had that door inspection completed, the 95% of the doors in the building would not pass inspection if the doors were laminated. So
the door was laminated.
For the fire.
Because
correct.
once the door is laminated, the certification is void.
Correct. Once we laminate that door, the original UL listing of that door is void. That door needs to be re-UL listed prior to the fire department doing the final inspection and closing the permit.
Who gave this report?
Excuse me?
Who gave you this report?
It's
No,
the fire department.
No. If you guys would like me to answer the questions, I'm the one with the answers. Okay. The association hired a company called Intertech. Intertech is one of the largest UL listing companies in the world, if not the largest. Okay. They inspected the doors failed. Either they had additional holes drilled in the doors are cracked, the hinges weren't proper, there's holes in the frames. The list went on and on and on. The office has that list, that report as well. I'm sure you can get it from them if you need it. Okay? But as far as the doors went, they failed an inspection. The board opted to have a second third party come in and inspect I think it was 4 or 5 floors just to compare the notes. The notes were identical. Okay, the doors were in bad shape, beyond repair. They needed to be replaced. They needed to be replaced whether they were laminated or not. If you guys were going through this beautiful renovation and in the end not going to change your doors that are broken and cracked, it just didn't make sense. So that was a large change. That change created time length, an increase in schedule. Okay, those doors had to be ordered. They arrived. It took 3 months to get them. So we're actually installing doors now. We started today in Tower 2. There's been some doors installed in we started today in Tower 1. There has been some doors installed in Tower 2.
Todd, I for myself and from some members here, I'd really like to sort of express understanding in your situation, because you're placed in a very difficult situation. You and Jennifer and Jody, because if there was clear transparency as what happened and what the costs are, you wouldn't be in this situation. And I feel for you, because you're in a tricky situation, because you are the contractor. You're the contractor responding to the piper that pays the tube. So I understand it's very tricky, but I want to explain to you that the problem that I really don't believe that we're saying that you necessarily are the problem. But the problem is that, so I really want, and I wanted to say that to you before I think, Jennifer, you said you guys were about to leave, that the problem is that when we don't know, when information is not provided, people assume the worst. And it may be that there is nothing, that everything is perfect. But So I just wanted to say that to you.
And
If
I
that
wasn't
makes a
saying we were
difference.
leaving. All I was saying is that a lot of the discussion that is
I
happening is
understand.
internal and
Right,
really
and I just
shouldn't
wanted to
be
make sure that
in
we
front of us as your
express
contractor.
that to you, okay?
Yes. So that's why I wanted to, if there were questions directed at this team, I would appreciate if we would get those now, because the internal questions that really shouldn't be had in front of us, we shouldn't be here for those, and so we would excuse ourselves. So if there are any more questions for us, I think that's how we should proceed.
Man, there's too many problems. First off, when the scheme for the ceiling, they decided not to go all the way to the edge, thinking the crown molding were going to cover the edge. They don't. And you can see all the way around the crappy.
We're very aware of that. It's part of our punch list, and we are actually working on that now. You won't see it when we leave.
And
Okay.
about the door also, we had the first door installed in the building before anybody else. And personally, perfectly well, that door never fit properly. There's a full finger underneath, it's way too short, and it doesn't fit the frame the way the old door used to fit.
Okay, so that's a two-part question as well. So the code allows me to have up to 3/4 of an inch of gap under your door. The reason why your door is cut at the elevation it is to allow air to pass through, and that door closed with its spring hinges. Okay, which is a requirement by an FPA.
Not all the doors are like that, and what was the point of measuring them twice to make it
So the new code, currently the new code requires a gap underneath the door in case there's a fire. Fresh air needs to flow within. So there needs to be that
why
gap.
some doors that have been installed from 1/8 to an inch to half an
Well,
inch?
let's wait until all the new
So-
receive.
On my floor only.
Hang on, let me about this question. So if you believe that your door's been installed improperly and you're not happy with it, do me a favor, please send a formal request to the management office, and I'll be glad to take a look at it. I've seen your door and I see no problem with it. But if you have a problem with it, we'll address it through the management office.
It's missing a chunk on the front edge.
It's missing what?
A chunk of
laminate?
That door was installed without any damages. We take.
It's damaged when it dried. It was missing a chunk.
So we use a very detailed electronic program. I have photos and all documentation of everything we've installed to this point. I'll be glad to take a look at your particular unit door. Please send a request to the management office. We have no problem taking care of it if there's an issue. Yes, sir.
You have a quality supervisor on property?
Yes.
Okay, on a daily basis?
Yes, sir.
Right, reports are given on what, daily, weekly basis?
Reports are done on a daily basis.
And sent to the management, correct?
Those reports are for our documentation.
Who approve your quality if you finish?
Excuse me?
Hang on. At the end of the work, you're gonna go through a punch list, correct?
Yes.
Right, who's gonna perform the punch list?
We will, our capital contractor services and our subcontractors will perform.
Subcontractors. Is there
Subcontractor.
an engineer involved?
Is there an engineer involved? There's a mechanical, electrical, plumbing engineer for
From your company?
from our company. There's.
Or is it outsourced?
Talking about Andy, I think.
No, if what you're asking is there a third party?
I'm asking about the team that will perform the punch list.
You have, the association has hired a company called Cornerstone Construction, who
I
is.
wouldn't know, I don't know any contracts.
Okay, so.
Are they
Understood.
present?
Are they present? I believe they were invited, but that's not through us, it's a third party hired by the association.
Wasn't able to attend.
They weren't able to attend.
Correct.
And he's in charge of the punch list?
He's in charge
Among
of
other
reviewing, he's
things?
in charge of reviewing all of their work.
Excuse me. Can you explain for those of us who are not in construction what a punch list is? Because I have no idea. Please help me
I'll
out.
be glad to explain to you. A punch list is a final list of items that need to be completed or repaired prior to final sign off.
Got you. Okay. Thank you.
So just so you know, so Andy, who is with Cornerstone, who is your association representative, okay, who is hired as a third party to oversee our work, he is the one who will walk the building with our team, create the punch list, and then ultimately do the sign off on the quality. But our team is the one, you said, who's performing the work? Our team and our subcontractors are performing the work based on whatever the punch list items are. Does that answer your question?
But prior to step back before that, we have our own QC team, quality control team, that creates a punch list, that's created a punch list. I have an extensive punch list that we're going through the buildings and completing the punch list.
I'm working on a $3 million renovation project in my property right now.
Okay.
And those quality reports are sent to me on a daily basis. That's why I asked.
From your general contractor?
That's correct.
And you're a property manager?
That is correct.
Okay, it's never been requested.
Okay, so that's the thing. Mark, question for you, please. All those work orders, who signed for that?
Work orders?
Change orders. Who signed for that?
Let's see. Up until January, it was our past president. And currently, I think we had one or two since then, and I believe I signed one or two of those and possibly another board member, if I remember right.
Okay, so the signature on those change orders is based on what? What kind of experience or knowledge? The signer, I'm talking about the person who signs. I mean, there's no talk, there's
No, we have discussions. We haven't just arbitrarily just signed it. It's, for example, the change order that we had for the doors, which were voluminous and expensive. There was no ands, ifs, or buts as to whether or not we had leeway to do something else. I personally didn't go for it until we had a second opinion. So that's why we had a second company come in to take a look and see whether or not that those doors actually needed to be changed and why they needed to be changed. Okay? Every unit door.
Did any of this change order cause a material alteration?
No, not from the design stage, no, because it was planned, those were planned. Okay?
Who did the painting of the common area doors?
Thank you.
5 doors?
How you doing?
One of our subcontractors.
And they didn't find justified to fill out the dings in the frame before.
That was-
Or showing the fire doors that, again, on my floor, they don't even close.
These, for instance, the fire doors are not part of contract. It was, the condition of those doors were brought to the board for review. It was determined that there was not enough funding to replace the doors.
Yeah, okay, it's fine, they painted them, but it didn't occur to anyone to shape the door so they would actually close. Or fill out the ding when you see a ding in the frame.
They're for one, they're metal door. It was not part of our scope. It was brought to the attention of the board. It was agreed by your board to not take those. Sloppy jumped it. Said, we
don't make those types of decisions.
It's not our.
Those doors were not part of our scope.
You're
of
stuck
work.
in a bad situation.
I don't think we are. I think
We were hired to sand and paint the doors. We were not hired to replace the doors.
Make the decisions are communicated to us.
We're not hired to. We're not hired. There was quite a few doors that were not functional that had to be replaced that are being replaced. For instance, I think it's the 22nd floor in Tower 2. The doors are non-functional. You know, it was brought up and it would not pass fire code. We were hired to do a scope of work, and that's what we're doing. What we feel needs additional attention, we bring it to the board. If it was my money, I would do a lot of things different. But it's not my money.
It's not your decision.
It's not my decision.
It's not, and like Todd says, what's really important for everybody to understand is that there was a scope of work. The scope of work.
What is the scope?
The scope of work went out with the booklet and went out with your voting packet. Everybody received the same scope of work. That is what we were hired to do. So if you want, please refer back to your voting packet from whenever it was that this was voted in, and all that information is in there, because we're gonna do what we were contracted and hired to do, and that's what Todd and the team here is doing.
Gotcha.
Yes, sir.
In which degree the scope in the papers every owner has is different for the actual scope that is signed the contract between Delvista Towers and Casper?
I'm sorry, say that again?
In which degree the scope that was distributed to the
What is the change in?
What's the change between the scope that they received in their packet and the one that's?
But there's a big one. No, there's a big one. Doors now
Well,
are
change
cheaper.
order.
That's different.
That's a change order.
Part of the
Exactly.
original scope.
Correct,
That's
and
right.
that is
That's
an
the question.
agreed upon change. That was an agreed upon change that was signed and approved.
But that is the question. From the original, because many people here has.
So you wanna know, what your question is, to what I'm understanding is, you wanna know what changes?
Yeah.
How they made?
But-
What change orders?
But let me think.
Okay.
One of the things here is we don't know which type of, what's the material, how we're,
Communication.
analyzed, are there needed or not, the list of change orders. One of the points into the letter we addressed to the board, not to you guys, is please, we want to know the list of change orders, who makes the decision, who makes the analysis, who signs for that. So far, that questions are not being responded. I understand it's not.
That's not a question for you.
Yeah,
You
that's
just explained.
another
Yeah.
internal
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
I mean, change orders are.
He's explaining.
I have a question about the design. If this is the booklet you're talking about,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
Which is beautiful. But on my floor, and I think on all the others, the marble in front of the elevators.
The marble in
this
front of
is-
the elevators.
This is beautiful, but ours has a brown, like it looks almost like a huge watermark in the middle of it. And I thought maybe somebody spilled something on it. And then I went up to another floor, and that seems to be the pattern of the marble. Whereas here, it's very elegant and